Welcome back, audience. Hope you're doing well. I'm having my little yerba mate here. This one's gonna be candlelit video, and I just decided to record this one. Hopefully, it may help you, um, because sometimes the most obvious things are not as obvious. But this little message is going to be about, as always, a certain type of direction in life. One direction that can actually give us the results that we want, and another one seemingly we're doing it to get the results, but then we receive the opposite, and then we're wondering what's going on. And there's a lot of suffering there. And this particular topic that I want to touch on, which is quite counterintuitive, and that is basically all the pain and suffering between the man and the woman relationships, or in other words, how to have harmony in relationships between the man and the woman. So often what we see, what we observe happening, and by the way, there's a difference between the information and observation. There's certain things that you can observe yourself. Like, for example, I could uh, draw your attention to a certain reality, and then you immediately can see it, and through your own observation, not because I told you that that's how it works, but you can see it yourself. That's observation, and through the observation, there is a discovery. Okay, and what I'm trying to communicate here is that if you seek the information to resolve your problems, that is the problem. Okay, the problem is, you can call um, people call it devil, Satan, or whatever, but I want to be very specific about this. What does it mean? It's actually an invasion of intellect into the matters of your heart, into the matters of emotion. You may have emotions, right? The intellect comes in and says, hey, let me help you with that. And if you let it, then that creates the belief systems and coping mechanisms in order not to face that thing. Basically, intellect says, hey, I'm going to help you not to feel the pain. And I'm going to build structures around that pain, defense mechanisms, so you don't have to feel it. Okay? Okay. And then that's in the moment you make a deal with the devil. That is essentially what the Satan is. It's the invasion of the heart by the intellect. And that's the wrong direction of life. As I always say, there's only two directions. You can observe it yourself. Then, don't, like I said, you don't believe anything I say. You have to observe it yourself. You can see it, right? You can watch yourself and say, all right, so there's this emotional pain. And then you go, and what do I do about it? Oh, so you can watch yourself and say, oh, I'm creating all sorts of coping mechanisms. I may be watching thousands of videos. I may be going on thousands of retreats. I may be doing it. It's like I'm trying to wiggle my way out of this so I don't have to feel it. You can watch it in yourself and see that. Um, okay, and so also, if that is true, then you have to say that um, psychology is the science of the devil, so to speak. Okay, I'm just being a little facetious, but you see, you get the point. If there's a premise that intellect will help you with your emotions, that is the problem. It's the wrong direction. Okay, it's going to convolute even more, because then you're going to be able to describe your problems very well, and that becomes a belief. And so now you become, not only that before there was a little pain that left unfelt, now there is this belief system that would make it very difficult for you to face that thing that must be felt, And of course, that, because you're not feeling your own emotions and so-called negative emotions, that mechanism that you built around it, that's, like that wall around your heart, is going to be hurting other people. And so that's propagating the hurt. Okay. um and so that's why um, psychology is a very dangerous sport. Also, sometimes I see people post, oh, there's an epidemic of falsely awakened people, and then, like, yeah, you are creating them, these are all your followers, because you are, you know loading the information onto them, and telling and saying that, like, please listen to me because I'm important, and all the information that I'm communicating you is going to help you. And that just creates more problems. It creates a false awakening. So it's a paradox for me to see the person saying the truth, well, the reality of it, yet they themselves creating it without even realizing and thinking that they're helping. Road to hell paved with good intentions. Okay. But if you see clearly, without the shadow of a doubt, that yes, indeed, all the problems begin when intellect um, starts saying that it can help you with emotions. All the problems begin with that. Then you just stop that and do the opposite and say, all right, so instead of asking for my intellectual mind to help with the problems, I'm just going to face these emotions. Okay, now how does that relate with to the man and the woman relationship? Quite directly. Look, there's of course, one thing that I have to communicate here is that um, we ought to respect the genders that we're playing. We ought to. It's quite important to respect the genders that we're playing. If you're playing a man, right, um, or a woman, but let's say you're playing a man, right? The whole uh, prospect of it is that yes, it may be difficult to be a real man. It might be easier to just gay instead of polarizing towards masculinity, which is power, um, power to influence your reality. And the only reason you need that power is to influence reality, to protect the the love, the innocence. That's what the actual real divine power, if you will, is used. But if you're doing it not to protect the innocence, not to protect and sustain love and harmony, if you use that power for kind of selfish means, then that power becomes like this, you know, um, tyranny, okay? Dark side of masculinity. So, and the reason is dark, it's because all that power with no balancing love. And I have to communicate this right now. If you are a man and it's difficult for you to be masculine and you give up on your masculinity, right? And you say, I'm just going to be more feminine. That's just easy to go with the flow. You betray yourself. Okay, you betray yourself. It's not going to be easier. You're going to pay a huge price because you're basically trying to be someone that you're not. Okay, and from this perspective, what I want to communicate is that the very purpose of playing a man's role is um, have and keep as much power as possible to yourself, and never ever as a man give away your power, meaning that blame other influences of your life. You take full responsibility. This is the way. If you take full responsibility, you take full power. You don't say that that person did this to me and that's why. No, you take full responsibility. Person, something did it to you, you take full responsibility for that. And once you take that responsibility, you have to, you know, become more wise or more powerful, those are sort of like interchangeable words, in order for this not to happen, let's say again, right? You always, every challenge that comes to you, you use it to keep your power to yourself and become as much as possible, as powerful as possible. Uh, and you use that power, and of course, it's cliche, use that power for good. But I'll tell you how you don't have to try to use the power for good. There has to be a certain type of balance of those energies. If you're polarizing very heavily towards power, um, um, which is the influence of your reality, okay? It's basically, ultimately, it's a bliss energy. That's divine masculine, bliss energy. And the bliss energy is very easily influencing the reality, okay? The more bliss a man has, the more influential on the world the person is, the man is in this case. But if you polarize so much on that, you cannot sustain that level of power without balancing out with certain degree of love. How does that work? It means that if you are moving so much in your power, you always have to balance it out by giving away your love. If you keep the power for yourself, right, which is the right thing to do for a man, because that's just encoded in your soul DNA, the role to be a protector, a protective provider on all sorts of levels, right? And so you're very powerful in a way that you can protect the close ones to you, right? And you want to be like overly powerful. Never use it against, like petty battles that have nothing to do with this. But if there's anything threatens your realm, you gotta show the motherfuckers what's up. And so they didn't ever fuck with you ever again. That is necessary, because if you don't have that boundary, then what can you protect? You can't protect, no innocence. So what's the point of having power then? So you can be this bully with that power, or you can be a protector with that power. Okay? But then to be a good protector, you have to have 10 times more power, more influence that bullies have. That, because bully will leave you alone if he sees that there's no fucking way that it can beat you. You're not interested in fighting the bully, but the bully needs to see oh, there's no fucking way I can bully this motherfucker. Okay? And that preparation, that power, is avoiding all the conflict. This is why it's so important. So you work on the power so you can avoid fighting unnecessarily through power. Anyway, but the way to balance it out is you have to give away your love. This is where you can keep your power, if you keep on giving away your love. Why am I saying this? Because there's often, for example, from the man's perspective, falling in love with the woman may be considered weakness. Okay, and they say well, I have a weakness for you, or whatever, from the man's perspective. If the man says that, then the man has weakness, because that's not the whole love then. Because if the love makes you weak, that's not the whole love. That means that you're not all in, meaning that there is some conditions attached, right? So I will love you as long as you do this or that, or as long as I can possess you, or something like that, right? I can love you as long as I possess you. And then when I cannot control you, then I freak out, and you know what I'm saying, or then I'm trying to give away my power to you, so then I don't have to feel bad about it, I don't have to feel pain, you see. But that's weakness. What I'm trying to say is that type of love is the love that has attachments, and therefore weakness. And sometimes, a lot of times, what men do is they say, well, I'm just not gonna fall in love because that makes me weak. And they say love makes a man weak. uh, Love makes a weak man weak. And the direction in that case, when you are in this situation, is not to close your heart, actually, but open up even more. Get to the deeper levels of love where it doesn't require anything from that person anymore. That's how you keep all the power to yourself. Okay? Because then, because you don't have any attachments, you still have all the love for the person, but no attachment. And so what happens is that the person can do whatever they want. You know, the events, whatever, it doesn't hurt you anymore, because that love is kind of a protecting in itself, protection in itself. Um, it is a different type of love. It is a deeper type of love, and it's not a traditional romantic type of love, but uh, it's much more romantic than traditional romantic love. Anyway, you get the point. So, the direction that we ought to take as men is to open the heart even more, right? Um, Not necessarily. And the fear is that if you open the heart even more, then you're gonna get weaker. But that's not what happens. What happens is that you open the heart a little bit, that makes you weak, and then you close it off, and then you think you got your strength back. No, but if you open it completely, you have the love for the person, but no attachment. That's power, because now there's no buttons to press anymore. That's power, and you don't blame anybody else. You know. So a lot of times when people, uh, men and women, I'm going to get to women in a second, because that's the polar opposite. Everything up to this point that I said does not apply to a woman. It's actually the opposite. I'm going to get to it. For a man, the job is to gain as much power in order to protect his woman, and not to give a shred of power, not to his woman, not to anybody, but give away the love, all of it. You can't hold anything back. If you're afraid of, oh shit, if I completely fall in love or like completely love, then that's gonna make me even weaker. But the fallacy is that actually, poof, the weaknesses go away, and you get to gain more power this way, because like I said before, the amount of power that you can sustain within yourself is appropriate, is correlates with the amount of love that you give away. Okay, because if you hold the love in, and the, what happens, that energy, everything that I'm talking about is energetic uh, phenomena. It burns, then you have a lot of pain. Okay, you give away all the love away, the pain goes away, and then you have a power, inspiration to do what the man must be doing. Okay, and so what does that look like in a um, real life relationship? A lot of people, talk about like twin flames or these types of connections that are very painful. That's exactly that. There's a path to say like, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna close off, but that's the wrong direction. If you open up even more, what happens is you realize that, holy shit, the pain goes away. You're no longer hurtable. You have a love for the person, but not attachment. You don't need anything from that person anymore. They can do whatever the fuck they want. And so if you have that type of connection where it's like, oh, they're doing and is hurting you, if you love them fully and completely, you're free. You set yourself free from that bondage. And that's the trick. And all these people are wondering, what to do, how to end the suffering and the twin flame. And it's like, oh, that narcissist or that whatever did this and that to me, like they have so much resentment for it. The reason they do that is because they have not opened the heart completely for the soul of that being. You know, doesn't mean that you have to get back to that person with that person. Doesn't mean that you have to accept the abuse and all these things. Actually, in fact, that's what happens, is that you stop accepting the abuse because it's energetic. You feel the pain, right? But once you completely open the heart, that pain goes away. And so therefore, now that connection that was painful is not painful for you anymore, because the person is doing the things that used to be hurting you. Now it doesn't hurt you anymore because you have love for that person. Okay? That different type of love that doesn't need anything from them. There's a reality that in that's all of these twin flame journeys, which I said in my previous video. I don't uh, I don't condone having any belief of that. There's no need to put the labels and beliefs, but people call it that way. But let's just call it what it is. It's the relationship or a connection that is deep and can be very painful. Okay, and the solution to that is actually the opposite direction that most people do. They're still hurting, they're still torturing themselves, and they don't realize they're just holding the love up for the person. But he did this and did this and this. That's like, how can I love that person even more? Like, no, I'm gonna close my heart. Well, good luck, and then you're gonna have that pain inside of you. But when you don't matter what the person did, it's about your personal growth and evolution. It's actually that person acted as a catalyst. And the lesson was that it's possible to have love for the person and not to be hurt by the person, no matter what they do. That was the lesson all along. So, okay. For men, that's how you're going to keep your power to yourself. That's how the manipulations and all these effects that used to be affecting you in a negative way, gone as a result of you having more love for that person. It's a bit like, I have to say, it's like a fatherly love. It's not, this romantic type of love which expects people to be in line. But when you have that type of fatherly love, then all these. Anyway, I'm just repeating myself. You get the point, right? That's the lesson about that connection. And once you get it, then you realize that the path or the step that you wanted to take and you were resisting to take, because you had the fear that will lead you even to more weakness, actually is the opposite. You get all your power back. You see, this is why I see a lot of men right now, going in reverse and saying like, all right, so women are like this, and they try to play the game on that manipulative level. So like, oh, women are like this, a woman quite, they have a dark side and they're quite evil, and the way we're gonna deal with this is like with the intellect again, and then you become a devil yourself, and you listen to this other, and I can't believe like how many people are following that type of advice, that heartless type of man. So some men, they just revert back to that. All right. So if the women are playing this game like that, then now we're gonna play that act. So then what they create, this warlike interaction. There is no harmony. How can there be harmony? How can there be real love? There's no love. There's just this power games that they play with each other. I'm gonna try to manipulate you. Says woman consciously or subconsciously, and the man says, I'm gonna play the game in a way that I don't get manipulated, but they both still don't want to get hurt. And so if they both still don't want to get hurt, there is no love. There will never be love. There's going to be like maybe temporary love with a lot of attachments. Okay, going to another side. Women, ladies. ladies. From your side, it's opposite. If you chose the gender to be a woman, at the same time, like I said before, we have to respect that, and even though you may have male attributes, but the point of it all is that, the sooner you admit that you came here to learn how to be a woman, a great woman or whatever, just the same thing as men, how to be a great man, uh, the easier the life will be, because that's natural energies. And so, just like you see men um, trying to, you know, squeeze their squeeze their way out of this, out of being a man, which requires a certain type of facing a certain type of pressures, and then they just become, it's like, I'm just gonna be a woman. So there's, become like this. There's a lot of these transvestites. But come on, there's a fucking dude that just lost his fucking mind. Let's just be honest. There are very rare occasions where the soul may incarnate for the experiences, say like, all right, for this lifetime I want to try it out, and the opposite. But it's very rare. Like, I think like maybe 80-90% of the cases are not natural. They can't handle the reality of being a man and having masculine energy in this world where it's always under attack. So they're just gonna go that way. But of course, we know all that story. Women have their own coping mechanisms. They say, well, I'm just gonna be a strong woman, you know and I'm gonna do um, you know I'm gonna play the man's role myself. I'm gonna be, whatever, super successful and gung ho in the business, let's just say, right? And it's very hard. Just like it's hard for the man to try to be a woman, it's quite difficult for the woman to be a man. So it's like very, you know, um, there's a lot of friction there. That's all I'm saying, because it's not natural. Okay. Then you may say, like, well, how does the woman handle to live in this type of world? Where is the strength of a woman? And of course, the answer is love. But you may say, well, kind of love gets pushed around. Well, love can be also get protected. There's a natural instinct in a man to protect the innocence, the real man. And so, not to say that you're completely kind of helpless. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that but as long as you have capability, let's say by yourself, to take care of your essential needs, like you don't have to become Fortune 500 CEO, um, you know, and lose yourself in that type of game to just make enough money to have your place, so you're not homeless if the shit doesn't work out with the man. So, as long as you have that, after that, you don't have to push yourself that much. You can play a woman's role. But anyway, the problem on the woman's side is that there's a problem about giving away the power. Um, and there's a fear that what if I give away my power to a man, then I'm going to get hurt and be abused. Okay, because now I give up to all the control. Actually, and so then I could be innocent, but then that innocence is being abused. And so then, as a woman, say like, I'm going to close my heart. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give away my power anymore, because that's what happens. I get hurt. But that's the backwards direction, as I was explaining before. The trick is that if you really want to, level up, it's the opposite. It's actually surrendering even more. Again, it's not to say that like you have to stay in an abusive relationship or whatever. No, just like a man is giving his love away to the feminine, all of it, all, what I'm saying, like it's like um, loves the entire femininity, the dark side and the bright side. The same thing, the energetic process is supposed to be that direction. It's not closing your heart, but opening up even more. Okay, and if you give away your power to the masculine energy, you get to be in an innocence, and that innocence is what actually, things are starting going great for you. People are starting helping you, and things are start rolling for you in your favor, because you give away your power. That's the path of surrender. So the man is a path of courage, the woman is a path of surrender. And so If you're gonna be, you gave away your power to a man, got hurt, and now what you're gonna do? You're gonna close your heart? No, but you could just go another direction and say like, I because if I do it this way, I get hurt. If I do it this way, I get hurt. There's gotta be another way. And so if you get to the point where you give away your power, all this burden, all this heaviness that you've been carrying goes away. That happens like obviously on an energetic level, right? And um, again, I'm not saying that you have to be with a man that abused you. I'm saying that um, there's a type of respect that you gain for all the masculine. That's like I'm going to give away all my power, and so then the masculine energy is going to take care of me, and it may come through different ways, right? And that only happens when you give away your power. In this, and that's surrender. A lot of people, talk about this. And so then all that suffering, all the heaviness goes away at the same time. And at the same time, there's no attachment that was there that was hurting you. Now there's no attachment because holding that desire for power was hurting you. You give it the power away, you receive the innocence, and that takes care of you. And events start going in your favor. Okay. So now when you have a woman that gives away her power to the masculine and a man that gives away his love to the feminine, the man becomes a holder of the power and the woman becomes a holder of the love. And then you become fully white and fully black, if you will, or fully black and fully white. Then, only then, you could have a real polarized harmony. Only then you can become one being, when you're fully polarized towards love and fully polarized towards power, none without fragmentation. Then, only then, there could be a real union and could be a real, actually, love relationship. Because up to that point, it was just training, not a love relationship at all. Paradoxically, you gain strength by giving away your power. That's what normally women say when they give away their power to a man or masculine energy, which would be like, you can call it whatever you want. But you just say to the universe, I want to be taken care of. And then actually you feel quite strong. That's what women normally say. That paradox is that they feel very strong when they give away their power. And so how that in the relationship, how does it happen? There's a lot of inspiration that man receives when he doesn't have to fight with you anymore. And that inspiration he uses to gain as much influence and take care of you, because now he has enough power to protect you. He feels powerful and create all sorts of experiences and fulfill your dreams. That's the man's. The dreamer is male energy. It creates the reality, and the feminine energy enjoys that experience. So man becomes somebody who keeps fulfilling your dreams, and that's his pleasure, that's his joy to do so. You know, and in the energetic level, that's what happens. In the relationship, you giving away all the power. You don't want any kind of power, because every little power that you keep for yourself, it's heavy. You, as a result, you gain all this love, innocence, joy, carefreeness. That's what you thrive on. And so man receives inspiration, and you receive protection and the fulfillment of your dreams and desires. That's the real relationship. Well, hopefully it makes sense. And both men and women are scared. A man scared of the next level of courage that they need to have, and women are scared of the next level of surrender that they need to have what they really want. And this is why there's this crucial point where it's like you have to put everything kind of on the line. If you don't put everything on the line, you'll never know. You see, um, and this is why this game, this real harmonious love game, cannot be played unless you're all in. A man must give away all of his love, and a woman must give away all of her power. On an energetic level, of course, I'm not talking about the physical. Okay, in a physical level, like I said, is certain level of independence. It's healthy, but on an because you know still you may have in a very beautiful relationship with somebody, but it may still end for whatever reasons. So so it's reasonable to have a physical means taken care of. Um, so you don't say like oh, I did all this but now I'm homeless or whatever. No, I'm talking about emotional, energetic level where you can feel it when a woman is fully feminine because she doesn't need any of the power. She doesn't want any of the power because it's just heavy on her. And the man gives away all his love because if he holds the love in, that's pain for him. And if the woman holds the power inside, that's heavy for her. Okay? And I'm just speaking the truth, and I would understand the hesitation to go towards direction where you said like, well, I took half a step or I took a step and I got hurt. What you're suggesting to me is to have to go all in. Logic tells me that I will get hurt even more. That's what the logic tells you. But the heart says like, hey, I can't handle the suffering anymore. And for a woman, just surrender. You give up, give away all your power. And if you do that at an energy level, you'll see how things are start going your way, and men will be taking care of you, and things are going to go really well. And you're going to gain new level of appreciation for the masculine energy, and understand that the reason for the dark side of the masculine was as a catalyst for this lesson, as a catalyst for the gift of living carefree as a woman in this world and being protected by real gentlemen. And of course, that love, that innocence that you acquire, it's powerful in itself. That energy is pure energy to create the reality. When you become that pure energy and the man becomes this dreamer, he uses that energy, that love, to create the reality. And as a team, as a unit, that's the real power couple. Not that power couple that people think, which is they're just money couple. That's not a power couple. I'm talking about the real deal. And yeah, so that's the solution to ending suffering permanently in the relationship between man and a woman. All these twin flames looking for solutions. What's going to happen? Is there going to be a reunion or whatever it is? No, you're all still living in that level of suffering and hoping that another person is going to resolve the suffering. No, you have to make another step internally, energetically, that you're afraid to take. And once you do that, only then you will see the truth, whether that person was just a catalyst in a relationship, whether but you see that the person that was a catalyst was the person that you needed to either give all your love away or give all your power away to that specific person, so the hurt stops, right? And then you'll see what happens after. If it was about the person, you know. But nevertheless, a man ends up having love for that person that was always denying, and a woman gains, you know, that new level of respect and appreciation that she was always denying for that man too. Okay, and then you're free, and in that freedom, that's when you are no longer in control. Love is in control, and you don't know necessarily what's going to happen, but you know that it's going to be based on love. And this is where, like, if you get to that point, all your attempts of doing magic, you know, and imagination and manifesting your SP, like whatever the fuck this means, you know, they now we people just downgraded a human being to two-letter word SP, you know, what the fuck, dude? Anyway, um, stop doing all these tricks, all this magic. You don't need. Actually, I have to tell you that you never use magic in the matters of love. Because if you do, it's not love. You can use magic as much as you want in the matters of matters of the matter of the material, manifest your dreams, whatever about the things, but not the person. I know that there's this belief that, like, you know, you could manifest. Yes, if you manifest the person, you will manifest the person, not love. You manifest love only by being love, or you know what I'm saying. But the importance of this message is to say that the paths are the opposite for the man and for the woman. This is why, like, this advice, sometimes like a cookie cutter advice, it says like, oh, just surrender, let go, and so then that becomes like, oh, that's the path to freedom. And so then that breeds kind of weak ass men, you know, fucking playing their fucking trombones, looking like a fucking noodle, you know, and have zero influence on their reality. Yeah, very loving man, but that's not a man. That's just a woman, you know. I'm sorry, but that's, you see, like, this is why that person did not go inside themselves, observe for themselves of what it is, listen to some fucking guru advice, and said that the path of surrender is the way to do. And just it's not. It breeds very weak men. The path of power, the path of courage, is a man's way, and it's about being able to. Anyway, I don't want to expand on it too much, but I guess what I'm trying to say, that polarity is very important. You don't, you know what I'm saying. And if you have a relationship that some sort of deeply connected, that associated with a lot of pain, you probably are one of those people that you need to polarize fully to one end or the other, because there's all sorts of stellar phenomenon, you know, in the universe, and you can see them, and sometimes there are binary stars out there, right? And many other things. And some people are like that. Some people are like basically playing the game to learn what's it like to be pure wisdom, you know. And what how is it possible to be pure wisdom and hold sustain that much light, you know. And then another one is obviously learning how is it possible to have that much love, and by giving away all your wisdom. And you see that the final result is that you go one way, right? You go towards the path of the courage and wisdom, let's just say, right? But as soon as you pop through that, you gain all the love too. And on the feminine way as well, you go all the way on the path of surrender. You gain all the wisdom. You see what happens in the end, that um, each person picked the path that was destined for them to do, and in the end they receive the other side immediately, automatically. A woman who's completely surrendered to a wise man is immediately a wise woman, you see. And a man who's giving all his love away to a, a loving woman, let's just say, becomes a loving man. A wise woman and a loving man. And a woman does not need to touch not a single fucking, you know, that wisdom, it just arises from the innocence and in the fact that you surrender to that energy. And if she needs any kind of wisdom, it's there. And for the man, the same way. Through the wisdom, there's love. If any kind of love the person wants, it's there. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. And we'll see if people are gonna finally get the point of why all this suffering in the relationships, deeply connected relationships. Yeah. Take care. See you in the next one.